Welcome to Balls and Briefs, December the 27th. Week 17, we've made it this far. If you stuck with us this long, thank you, sincerely. One more week. Maybe this might be your last weekend season long. Maybe next week's your last week. But if you've made it with us this long and we've gone along the journey this long, thank you. We sincerely appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
I know we've had lots of people come in and out. Shout out to guys like George, Chandler, Jay, just
everybody's showing love.
Nick, whoever you guys just keep bringing the questions. So with that being said, week 16's gone. Football season is coming to a close, guys.
Christmas is over.
Yeah,
nothing to look forward to.
363 days left till next Christmas.
Yeah, I guess that's what we have to look forward to. Let the countdown begin. I got robbed in my Christmas light contest because somebody doesn't like me. So,
well, I literally got robbed because someone hacked my FanDuel account and took all my money. So if you're out there and you're watching, you're welcome. Taking all my FanDuel face-off money. You got my account closed down. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Asshole.
Yeah, like literally hacked my account. Whatever sports bet you did in Maryland, you hit on it. I saw.
Oh, they won.
Yes, they put in $160 and cashed out $400. And 75 of them were mine, was my dollars. So obviously there was money made there on the sports bet.
Send my man back at 75 plus 25 for interest, and
so
call it a day.
Yeah, thanks, and then thanks for getting me caught up in tax evasion, also, dickhead. So, but yeah, I literally got robbed on Christmas. It's the fucking wet bandits. That's what you're being referred to, whoever you are.
The Grinch.
Sticky bandits.
We're no longer the wet bandits. Yeah, we're the sticky bandits.
Sticky bandits.
Yeah. Shut up, Marv.
So, yeah. Is Lamar the MVP?
All I know is Trevor Lawrence is not top 5, like I said. I call
it. I stick to my guns. I'm gonna die on that sword that at the beginning of the season he was gonna be top 5, and he ain't it. I'm gonna say that
27 at best. Like I said,
Brad, defend
my
you,
man. Russell Wilson is better than him, dude.
Russell Wilson don't even got a fucking starting job anymore. He lost.
And he's better than Trevor Lawrence. Watch them trade Trevor Lawrence and take Russell Wilson.
No, Russell Wilson's gonna end up on your team.
I'd like him better than Derek Carr. Although I did watch Russell Wilson run out the pocket the other day, and I was like, this dude looks slow and fat as fuck. Sierra needs to stop feeding him. He just had
another baby, so you know what happens. I mean, I know what happened to me when I had our kid. I gained like 30 pounds. So
a dad bod kicking in. He needs the
heavy.
I mean, he's worked the Saints so many times in the past. He can come give back now. I like him better than Carr. At least he'll run the ball. I watched Carr have like the cleanest step up, move over pocket of your fucking life, and instead he sits there and he just like gets scared. He's like and he gets sacked, and it's like, dog, just step the fuck up and run, go. It's free, it's open. No one's got a QB spy on you, but you're a gump and you're trash, and you should not be in the NFL. And I still think he's better than Trevor Lawrence. Oh shit!
Well,
way said that.
He shit on me. Trevor Lawrence shit on me, and it's his fault that I didn't make the fantasy playoffs in one league in the 12-man. All right, made the playoffs and got beaten this week, and then I am not, unfortunately.
Well, I did say coming off a concussion that it might have got a little ugly. I just had this eerie feeling going into the game that it was going to be.
It was him or Nick Mullins, man.
Yeah, I know. It's definitely tough.
Let's go, George, in the championship. Let's go.
Let's go, my dude.
There we go.
Big wins. That's what it's about. Big wins.
Congrats. I
We need a
also
big
made the
DFS win
championship
in
my
here.
12-man league, so I guess we can say then, we're both in the championship. It was nice. I actually went against a guy who had
Amari Cooper.
Amari Cooper in the second week, which
And
really
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, and Amon-Ra St. Brown had a really good lineup, really good team overall. And I actually had 3 players get hurt during the game. Waddle, TJ Hawkinson got hurt for me.
Done for the season.
During the game. Lost points a little bit on that. Yeah, he's done actually for the season with an ACL injury. And I believe I lost one more other guy as well during the game on the second week. So it definitely closed the gap that I had in the first game. But the football guy was with me, and I was able to get the W and pull it out. Shout out to Debo Samuel. Shout out to more specifically Mike Evans for balling out for me against, unfortunately,
we called it, dude. We spoke that
but
shit.
I had an eerie feeling that was going to play. But again, thankful for getting into the championship. But I will say I'm going up against a stacked team in the championship. This is a USC back in the day style team, man. This team's loaded. So we'll see what we can do against them.
Well, I'm sorry. I couldn't make it work. I couldn't get the literally her name says it all. Fluke picks win championships, and so you get to face the meat grinder that is my wife, and she's kicked my ass and then made me like it and win the top score every week. So I don't know, man. Her team just peaking at the right time. I mean, when you got
definitely
75 points from wide receivers, it just is what it is. And then I had Jordan Addison get hurt, and that's all she wrote.
That was you can't have players get hurt in the championship game, man.
No,
it just can't happen. But
in the playoffs in general,
or in the playoffs, in the playoffs in general. And so I know that was definitely it was tough watching it from the side. I know that you kind of check the projections when you're playing each week or whatever, and you're trying to watch it throughout that game, and you see the projections going back and forth. And I thought maybe what was the C-Mac you had and Jalen Hurts? I thought they would do enough to pull you over.
No, that man George Kittle and Justin Tucker, bro.
Wow.
Every time they'd get down there and Justin Tucker would kick a field goal, I'd cringe. I was like, because I was already like hurting in the 12-man league, and I was like, okay, I'll take the loss. I'll take an ass whooping at the hands of my wife, as opposed to this 1 point that I'm going to end up losing by in a 12-man league. And I was like, oh shit! I got down to the last 7 minutes of that fourth quarter, and I'm like, I'm about to win this shit in a 12-man league because Ayuk has not done shit. And then all of a sudden, Brock Purdy goes out and Sam Darnold just starts throwing the ball to Brendan Ayuk, and I'm like, I just melt. I'm just like, I'm done. I'm done with fantasy football this year. Like, I'm out. I'm like, I'm lost. I just lost on some bullshit because the night before, Russell Wilson did not fucking exist until the 4 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and he comes down here and scores 23 points, and they still lose. That's why his ass lost his job. Fuck you, Russell Wilson. Get out of here. Go be a Walmart salesperson. Like, dude. Just at a loss. So
the pain is real.
To George's question, I'd say Broncos or Rams. I actually prefer the Broncos if you have that choice.
I would need to check the
Eagles have been lacking on defense lately, man. I feel like that could be a high-scoring game potentially
against Arizona.
Yeah.
And then you got Chargers at Denver. Well, I just saw what Chargers did to Buffalo, and that, like, did they just come back to life? Like,
I don't know about that, but Broncos, I think, a pretty solid defense as of lately. That shit's been pretty clean.
I mean, the Rams, I like the Rams because the Giants can't make up who their quarterback's going to be. I think they're going to – Tommy Cutlets.
No, but they almost beat the Eagles.
Tommy Cutlets is out of here. Tommy Cutlets is out of here, and they went back to Tyrod, one lung Taylor, and Man, the Raiders against the Chiefs. I mean, the Raiders, Antonio Pierce got them boys playing, and another one of those dudes, Max Crosby. Max Crosby's Max Crosby, but
And
as long as you don't have anybody that's going against any of those teams in the championship, that's the one. And I mean, if there's somebody on your opponent's team that's going against one of those teams, I try to shy away from them, just for the simple fact of the matter. And if they have somebody on their team that's on one of those teams, you might want to try to piggyback off of that. So they got a Puka Nacua. Okay, well, the Rams defense, they're going to play from ahead. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just trying to think of like correlation in that sense. I think probably because none of those teams play until Sunday.
Yeah, we'll have more on that on Saturday.
You come back, bring that back to us on Sunday, or we will give you an answer to that on Saturday for sure. Because I want to think about it and do a little more seeing like who's hurt and defense wise. And with this whole changing of Broncos, getting rid of Russell Wilson, like what kind of defense they're going to be trying to play going forward. And then if this shit with Patrick Mahomes has kind of got in his own head, and Travis Kelce's throwing helmets on the sideline and those kinds of things. So I think maybe Saturday we have an answer for you, for sure for you on Saturday. Just come back in and pop back in and say, hey guys, you got any thoughts on my defense? But right now, I like the Rams, and
I like the Rams.
I like the Rams right now just because of the Giants being in flux, but that could change. So
even against Tyrod or Cutlet or Jimmy Cutlets,
Tommy Cutlets, yeah.
Because I just think that outside of sort of what they have in the running game, they don't really have much. So if Donald could take him out, and sort of that D line could take him out,
away from the ball,
kind of make them one dimensional, make them have to throw it. There's possibly some interceptions out there.
Yeah, for sure. But kind of want to give you a little rundown on what the Millie Maker was on the weekend. I got kind of conflicting information. I do know for a fact the quarterback was Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco, I mean, 368 passing yards, 3 TDs. He ended up throwing 2 interceptions, and he still put up those in a 2-point conversion. And then that was paired with Amari Cooper, who 2 touchdowns, 265 yards for a Browns record, 11 receptions, and the 2-point conversion, 54.5 points. I didn't see that coming. Couldn't have told you that I ever get to Joe Flacco paired with Amari Cooper. I know Brad and I were. It was a low-scoring ball game, supposed to be. And it went over.
Didn't see that one.
It was 58 points after the fact.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
37.5.
Yeah. I really thought that the Stingley would do fairly solid against Amari Cooper. I mean,
it wasn't on that. He was hardly ever on his side. I watched the whole game, and all those catches were against like Steven Nelson or Desmond King, like they weren't on Stingley's side. I think maybe 2 of them out of the 11 might have been on Stingley's side, but I know neither one of the touchdowns were on him. And the Stingley ended up with the interception. So, they were shying away. We did just sign Kareem Jackson, one of the 3. Now the Texans have officially have 2 of 3 players that have been suspended for illegal hits this season. So we had
he got fired on Christmas, didn't he?
yeah, they didn't let him play.
Kareem Jackson got fired on Christmas.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
And then also they had David Njoku too, had one TD for 44 yards on 6 receptions. So there's that. Somebody I can tell you I never got to, DJ Chark in this lineup. Never. 0.2% owned. Never got the DJ chart. I mean, there was the chalk with CeeDee Lamb, Devin Singletary, and Breece Hall, and then the Jets defense.
Young hadn't really shown enough the last couple of weeks to kind of make me feel any sort of comfortability outside of Thielen.
I mean, that according to NBC Sports, now I did see that, like I said, conflicting results that there was a lineup that could have been 249 with Joe Flacco, Jahmyr Gibbs, Breece Hall. There's your Breece Hall again, Amari Cooper, Tyler Lockett, 16 points, KJ Osborne, and Njoku again, your Mike Evans, and the Buccaneers defense. So, man, it's still the 3 stack with Flacco, Cooper, and David Njoku, and I would have never got there personally myself. Like I said, with that game being the
Phil,
lowest.
Did you run Cooper or Flacco? Phil?
Anything?
Oh, I didn't hear you say Phil. I definitely ran Cooper, but I didn't have him in the right lineup.
Gotcha.
I did not run Flacco at all. Trying to think of who my quarterbacks were, if it's the right slate. I might make Christmas Eve and Christmas Day up, but I ran Lamar Jackson as a quarterback, and I ran.
It was a nighttime game.
That Raiders quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. So I ran both of them. Aiden O'Connell shit the absolute bad, but I went with him for like leverage, like people. It was low owned. I like the upside of like low owned Devontae Adams and low owned Jacoby Myers, but they didn't pay off.
Gotcha.
Lamar, I think, paid off. But like I said earlier before this started, I got absolutely crushed on Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. I think I went I tried to go like too much low owned, and I did that because it's a small slate. Last year, that type of play would have paid off, but this year, like the chalk is what has came out. I mean, I had Breece Hall, I didn't have Chark, I don't think, but like my lineups were there. They just were not in the money. Like they were contrarian too much. In other words, I had too much leverage. It fucked me.
Yeah,
I definitely forgot all about Flacco being like a shooter, man, because he was a shooter the week before. We had some talks about that, and I forgot about that. When I saw him popping up, I was like, man, I could have played Flacco.
I mean, I ran to try to get in the. I got into the Jared Goff. I tried to stay in the higher scoring games. I mean, Nick Mullins was chalk, but he was my cash quarterback. I ran him a couple in 20 max, but I tried to get exposure to thinking that, okay, Geno was going to be there. And then because I tried to pair Geno with JSN, and it worked, but it didn't work. It didn't work enough, So I mean,
that's what happened to me. Like shit worked, but it didn't work enough. And on these small game slates, you gotta have
games.
So
it was
much
9 games
more.
on Sunday. It was 9 games on Sunday, but the players that should have went off in the games that were higher scoring what killed the Vikings, which that was a game that me and Brad talked about. I talked about one of the most talked about was because the Detroit and Minnesota was supposed to be a high scoring game, was supposed to be 46.5 or something like that, right? And where Minnesota loses Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson in the same damn game, that cuts out half, and those guys were lower owned, and those are the ones that you want to try to get exposure to because Jay Jettas was so fucking over owned. He was it was over owned. So that if you did run a Nick Mullins stack, and the stacks I was talking about that we even thought about was Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson to get off of the Jay Jetta chalk and bring it back with Amon-Ra, who's going to be chalk, right? So Amon-Ra went off, but the fucking players not named Jay Jetta didn't do shit for the Vikings, right? So that was the problem. And then the Dolphins and Dallas game was just underwhelming. It was it didn't exceed my expectations like I expected it to come out be bust over 55 or 60 points. It didn't even break 55, I believe. So that shit the bed. So the games that
when that's played, I think I had some Dak Prescott too. I didn't play any Tua though.
Yeah. I mean, the game that went over, like the Texans and the Browns, another game that was supposed to be low scoring was Washington at the Jets. And both of those games cleared the over by like 20 plus points.
Yeah.
Well, I thought the Jets were just about to mop house with the Commanders.
It was like 27-0 and
27-0, and they let them come back.
That shit was crazy. I almost hit a 6-game
Jacoby Brissett out here leading back-to-back scoring drives, 3 of them, I think.
I needed Dallas to win, and I needed over 43 in the Tampa game. I had bet on Carolina. I had so much hard shit that covered in my parlay, and I just needed Dallas to win and over 43 in Tampa game, and Tampa game was 42 points. I was like, I'm fucking sick. Like, it's like $25 paid like $2,500, and I hit anything but those two, man. I was like, come on,
that guy that hit
Dallas to lose this game.
Parlay.
The $5 that turned into $489K.
Yeah.
Yeah, that parlay from the C-Mac touchdown.
Like a 15 leg or 19 leg, something like that parlay.
You picked them underdogs, man, and put them in a parlay, and they
anytime touchdowns. He was anytime touchdowns on all of these dudes, and CMC was the capstone on it.
Insane.
Yeah. So my quarterbacks were Justin Fields, Nick Mullins, Baker, Geno, Jared Goff, and should have never played T-Law. Bastard.
Oh, you always know DFS Phil will never play T-Law. Just know.
I won't. I will never draft another. I'm going to go up to the altar and say I'll never draft another Jacksonville Jaguars player in season-long fantasy ever again. Ever.
I learned that last year playing T-Law. Cost me money every fucking week. I told myself I'll never play him again, and this year I stood by my word, and he hasn't.
Never again will I draft one. I'm sorry. Doug Peterson tricked me into it, man.
We bit the cheese. Yeah, we bit the cheese. You know, you thought there was more there. You know, and unfortunately, it just hasn't really worked out. I don't want to put a lot of blame on sort of the change in play caller, but I know that Press Taylor has been doing that a little bit more this year. It just seems like the offense just, even on the sort of opening drives where you kind of scheme up the first 15 plays, everyone knows what they are, and you still don't have any sort of production, and that's what's a little frustrating. And just not really utilizing the offense the way, or the skill position players the way that I think they could be better utilized. I thought that Ridley was more of a downfield sort of bomb threat, but how many times have you really seen that this year? You've really only seen sort of out passes. And that's not his skill set. His skill set was the deep bomb passes.
I think that they realized. I think they realized T-Law is not accurate downfield. Like I've been saying all year. He cannot.
I can see that.
They stopped dialing him up because he's just not hitting them. So they got to start throwing these smaller routes, and it's not Ridley's play style. So now you're trying to correct one problem, but now you're creating another one. Because Ridley knows how to get open downfield, not in the short field.
And the thing about it is Trevor Lawrence, his skill set is here, but his utilization of his skill set is here. He has an anatomy. He is a amazing size. If I was fucking 6'5" or 6'6" and had the arm that he does, my God, y'all would never.
I just need his.
I wish
I could throw that football as far as him right now at my size if I had his hand size. If you gave me a K2 football, which my hand fits on that ball, the same size his hand fits on the NFL ball, I could throw the same distance as him. And I'm half his size. I would not say he has an arm.
He has total talent. He just cannot utilize it. This is like being
that's able. You can't utilize it. It's like saying, this guy should be in the NFL. He ain't had a fucking time. He can't use.
He's got tons of arm talent. He just can't use it. Like it's like being Usain Bolt and running ass backwards, like having tons of speed and not being able to race because you don't know how to stay in your lane. It's that kind of shit. Or
I wish the offense was more like I always call it the Josh Allen style offense, but where you have more sort of run, sort of power schemes, quarterback power schemes, and built off of that is the play action that comes off of it, allowing them to throw the ball further downfield. That is sort of more of an offensive scheme that I think would be more effective with Trevor Lawrence's skill set than what they're using them now. Also, sort of getting them more under center.
RPO.
No RPO real game at all. I would have thought they would have played that up a ton, and you just don't see it at all. That's why I said that it feels like the offense has lost any sort of type of identity that one could have.
I'm telling you, it's got to be like they recognized his inaccuracy downfield out of nowhere.
Phil, you could be 100% correct that what they're seeing in practice says don't throw the ball that deep down.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Maybe throw the passing routes in the passing tree that they're throwing. I just thought they would have gotten Ingram on more seam routes, getting them 15, 20 yards down the field before throwing the ball instead of 5. But I guess if your offensive line is as bad as what they're saying it is, then maybe that's the case.
I mean, they got the players, man. They got Ingram, they got ETN, they got Kirk, they got Ridley. Like, at this point, it's play calling and quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, knowing what I know and watching him playing in college at Clemson, it's not like he went no bum-ass school. Now, if he went to University of California Technical Institute of Culinary Arts, yes, and he comes in, yes, I understand that. But he went to Clemson, went to a national championship, beat Alabama.
But remember the second year, though, Cody. If you remember, too, though, the second year, he was supposed to be the guy. He was going to be the man. He was supposed to go undefeated. That was the season where he started throwing more picks than what he did the previous year.
Man. I'm just saying, like, I expected.
Sometimes I feel like he forces things for no reason. And
I'm not going to lie. I was excited to watch him come to the NFL because I thought he was going to be a beast. And then he's not. I think you're comparing too much to college. He did play in the toughest teams, but there are so many people that come to the NFL and say this is a whole nother level.
I get it. But I thought now I'm wondering if this was really Urban Meyer's fault. If this was, I'm not saying if it was Urban Meyer's fault or is it really T-Law, which it probably is. But are we saying these same things if T-Law's playing consistently? Now, this is year 2 under Doug Peterson, okay? If he's been with a Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, fucking Sean Payton, one of these dudes who tries to put their quarterback in the best situation, I'm not saying that Doug Peterson doesn't do that, but Doug Peterson, we do know, Doug Peterson was part of the reason that Carson Wentz ain't in the fucking league no more, or he's a backup to Matthew Stafford because of what they did there. And he did the shit with Gumby ass Nick Foles. Okay. And what did he do? What did Nick Foles do? Translated that Gumbiness in a touchdown into a Super Bowl MVP, a statue in Philly, and a gajillion dollar contract there in Jacksonville. And what is he doing now? On his couch? So that's what I'm saying. If he went to a with all the skills he has, that bag of skills, he went to a good team, would we be saying the same thing? I don't know. Maybe so. But I will die on that sword and say I got the wool pulled over my eyes and it bit me in the square in the ass. I should have played Nick Mullins. I should have played him and I should have not taken him out. That's what I should have done. but I let myself get the best of me, and now I'm on the outside looking in because of that shit. So there we go.
Missed the podcast and you play T-Law. It's my fault.
And
I would have been in here telling you, do not play his bum ass.
I'd already fucked up and taken Cameron Dicker out for Matt Gay, and Cameron Dicker sitting on my bench with 21 fucking kicking points on Thursday night.
Shout out to Sanders, by the way. Jason Sanders for Miami. He came through in the clutch. Had 350.
I saw those kicked. I saw those.
That saved me as well. That saved me.
I should have picked up. I should have picked up Joe Flacco, but oh wait, the guy that's the first place team in our league has him in his contingency plan. Third. I'm looking at you, Josh. Yeah. Fucking not even gonna play him because you got Jalen Hurts, but you pick up Joe Flacco, so nobody else can have him. And you're a fucking Steelers fan.
You got to play to win the game, Cody.
Yeah. You play
Sometimes
to win
that
the game.
means playing defense.
So you play to win the game, and Joe Flacco. There's your Jets and Cleveland Browns references there. Herm Edwards, shout out to Herm Edwards. You play to win the game. So we could just kind of move into Thursday.
Browns at the Jets.
Looking at,
or
hopefully,
Browns.
Good luck in the championship, Brad. That's all I got to say. Because she's a beast. So
Jets at the Browns.
Injuries on the Jets side of the ball. They're going to be without left tackle Dwayne Brown. Third string tight end Jeremy Rucker. Trevor Siemian was full practice today, but he is questionable. So he's going to be the quarterback that's starting, but he's questionable. So I don't really understand. So I don't know who their backup is at this point, because Zach Wilson is still out with a concussion, and they got rid of Tim Boyle, and we picked him up, and he's on our practice squad right now. So don't know, because obviously Aaron Rodgers ain't coming off the bench. He can't play yet. And then Greg Zuerlein, the kicker, is questionable with a quad injury. And on the Browns side of the ball, their punter is doubtful. Amari Cooper is questionable, but it said he did not practice. He said they did say it's not injury related.
It's exhaustion.
It says they're resting him. Yes.
I mean, being a one-man army for a whole football game, I guess I'll be questionable too the next week after 265 yards.
I can tell you now that the highest owned player on this fucking slate. That is an easy fade in my book. He's had one exciting game in his whole NFL career. That's an easy fade.
Dustin Hopkins, the kicker, is out. So I don't know who they picked up to cover.
That's right. They had somebody kick the ball for him, and he missed the fucking field goal. Like, which one of y'all can kick? Come up here and kick this ball.
They were going for 2-point conversions, man. So and it was working
because they missed that one. Let's go with some stats. I'll tell you an interesting stat about this game is this game favors a 5-1 stack in favor of the Browns. In both sides. The Jets allow a 1-5, them being 1, 5 being the other side, 25% of the time. And the Browns do a 5-1 stack favoring them 20% of the time. So it's correlated. The Jets allow themselves to only have one player in the optimal and 5 from the other team. And the Browns allow themselves to be 5 in the optimal and only 1 from the other team. So that's an interesting take from here. If you're going to grab 1 from the Jets, I think it's Brees. I don't know. I mean, that's just my immediate thought on it. But
after watching that game, Devin Singletary was the only thing that we could get going during that game, outside of Dalton Schultz here and there, and then the garbage time TD to Nico. I think Brees is probably the thought. And then with Trevor Siemian being questionable,
they just run 5 Browns players, make sure Cooper's in your flex. I wouldn't run Cooper at captain. He's going to be high owned as fuck. I think if you faded him altogether, you might be on to something. I just don't know if you can do that because who else is going to get points if you're running a 5-1 stack?
David Njoku.
Yeah, he's another one, but he's not 4 other ones. So you probably need Njoku, you need a running back, their quarterback.
And Elijah Moore, maybe.
I
did see Cedric Tillman get catches the other night or other day.
Second wide receiver for Cleveland is in the flex almost 40% of the time. So who's the number 2 at Cleveland?
Elijah Moore. And this is a revenge game too.
There you go. So Elijah Moore in there. You could even run.
Hunt. I don't know. I just got this eerie feeling about Hunt versus that.
Ford.
That Jets defense, just because he has a little bit more of that catching ability to catch out of the backfield.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Jerome Ford ain't shit. That's another one that got me kicked out of the damn 12, man. That's another one that I'm
pissed off at.
Yeah, I'm salty. There's a little salt. There's a bunch of salt there. In the wounds, rub it in. Get ready.
Better to be pissed off than pissed on.
Yeah, I mean, I do like Kareem Hunt because I felt like he was out there every time. I did see Pierre Strong Jr. out there some closer to the end of the game when I thought Jerome Ford should be out there. I don't know. Maybe it's because they were up 30 points at one point. But I got one for you, Phil. So if you're doing 5-1 stack here, is the Jets defense a viable play in a 5-1 stack?
That would be a very way of getting different too. 5 Browns players and then your only bring back is the defense. People would never do that.
Because that defense, don't matter who they playing against, they may be getting shit on, but they're getting interceptions or safeties or some weird play.
Oh, if you get one pick six or one fumble for a touchdown, you can't do no wrong. The defense
just blew us up and got it picked off twice.
Yeah, you could literally get that and allow 45 points on you and still be in the nuts. So you could essentially,
and they ain't got no kicker.
I mean, on vice versa, and too, you could also play Cleveland's defense somewhere and just still have your bring back as Brees or somebody else. But Cleveland's defense is viable too.
I wonder if that Jets defense is able to kind of bring Flacco down to earth a little bit. I think Flacco's had 3 straight 300-yard games. I don't know.
He's been popping.
Scripts
as
that
another revenge game.
He wants his fucking job back, dude.
Maybe
that's another. I'm telling you, it's another revenge game too.
But I think that because Flacco's not your sort of typical mobile quarterback that you see nowadays, that you are able to sort of scheme them up a little bit easier, better target for the defensive end coming off the side there. So I just would say watch that. Even Quinnen Williams tomorrow. So that Jets defense, I think, is definitely a good play. I was going to even recommend choose a defense tomorrow for your captain, get different. Because I think one of them might actually end up having a really solid game tomorrow. It feels like with the way the game flow it's going to go, it just lends to a pick six or maybe a special teams, a block punt, return for a touchdown type game.
I agree. I mean, you run the Jets defense as a captain and bring it back with 5 Browns players.
Okay, so here's a stat. Here's a good stat. So Joe Flacco has thrown at least 1 interception in all 3 of his games, and he has thrown at least 2 in 2 of the 3.
And Jets are gonna be the toughest defense he's played against yet.
Yes.
Yep.
So Jets defense is captain.
We were without our best pass rusher. The Bears' best pass rusher is okay. Montez Sweat at that point. He was still kind of new.
He was just getting on the team, really.
And the Jaguars.
We went bye-bye.
Yeah.
We done. They packed it in. They're ready to go. They're ready for vacation.
So you might be able to hit the lock button on.
He's played in 4 games. I thought he's played in only 3. He played in the game against the Rams, and he lost that game. He threw an interception in that one also. So there you go. A better defense. And they got their ass kicked. The Browns got their ass kicked by the Rams by 15 or 17.
Don't forget, like Flacco and Cooper, they're going to be high owned. So people are going to be following that hype, 300-yard games. Now, that all makes sense for your 5-1 stack because of the odds on that. But don't forget that, like, the 3-3 stack is still the best. It's 36%. And if you were to play this, like, Jets captain, Brees Hall, and somebody else, and then bring it back with 3 Browns players and maybe leave Cooper out of one of those, I could have a solid-ass chance at winning and be very low-owned, if anything. Because not many people are going to pull the trigger on Jets' defense as captain, number 1. They're not going to fade Amari Cooper, number 2. So if Amari Cooper shits the bed, you are immediately ahead of like 80% of the crowd.
And somebody I think people are sleeping on. I mean, people can go directly, okay, we're going to go directly to Garrett Wilson there in New York. I like Tyler Conklin, man. I like that tight end. That dude, he does the dirty work. He does your dirty work. And I know what Dalton Schultz just did with between Case Keenum and David Neck Mills. All that Trevor Simeon's got to do is dink and dunk, you know, because there's susceptibility.
Brees Hall, Tyler Conklin.
Conklin had 7 targets last game.
Yeah, so, bring him back with.
That's a good chunk of the targets. He only brought in, I think, 4, but maybe one of those are for a touchdown or more.
Bring him back with Elijah Moore, David Njoku, and somebody else, maybe Flacco, and just fade Cooper, and then you'll have 2 tight ends in that lineup, a defense as a captain, and a fade to Amari Cooper. That's going to be like 0% owned by anybody else. If you hit, you're getting all the bacon, all of it. You're not splitting with nobody, but you have a higher chance of losing because you're obviously doing something that's unlikely to happen. Hitting them like the only guy trying to ball. And you're putting your money on the Jets. I think it's a good play. I might even lock button them in, not just as captain, but
you were muffled. I didn't hear you. What'd you say?
Locking in the Jets D. Is my like in flex, they're in every lineup. And then as captain, they're in like 25% of the captain.
Oh, at this point, like I have nothing really to play for besides top pick. Top money. So, but I'm running them out. I'm running their defense if that's like I want that. I want my top score so I can make a little cash, you know. So
little cash money.
Yeah, I'm running them, and I'm thinking about fading Ford. So
that too. There's some turds down here too. David Bell, Harrison Bryant, Jordan Atkins.
I think David Bell scored against us.
Scored against the Jags.
David Bell. Where are you, David Bell? Oh, no, he did not. He did have a catch, though. 1 reception on 2 targets for 6 yards. I thought he scored. Got confused with, I think, Ronnie Bell on 49ers. But that Cedric Tillman, I saw him out there a little bit on Sunday. Phil, what's Xavier Gibson's percentage target share and on the field percentage for the Jets?
I don't know. I don't think it's updated yet. Okay. He's definitely on this chart though. I think his projection is almost 5 points. I don't think he's on the matchup. Yeah, he's not yet. But I think it all comes down to what Trevor Simeon can do. That's the real question, because that's gonna.
Is he gonna have time to throw, or is Myles Garrett gonna be?
The obvious plays here are the Browns. The Browns defense, because it's Trevor Simeon. The Browns defense aren't bad anyways. Cooper, Flacco dominating this, but that's the obvious play, right? We always say the primetime games play different. They play the opposite. But what are you gonna see here? A dominating Jets team. Everybody's gonna be like, "What the fuck? Mari Cooper's cold. He's got 2 points. It's third quarter, and Flacco's not doing shit. Blah blah." And it's gonna be like
7.5.
prime time, baby.
And 7.5 in Cleveland, to Cleveland.
Or put it this way: you do all that shit. You play Cooper. He has a bomb game, but you make $1.50 because everybody and their mom did the same thing you did.
Yes.
And then you're like, "Oh, I made Amari Cooper my captain. He was the number 1 player, but I only made $6." I mean, it's sometimes better just to lose and just know that you took a wild and crazy route if you won, you were getting paid.
I'm trying to
Your
see
boy-
like who did.
Because all he won was $6. And we're not playing DFS for $6.
Not at all. Okay.
Paying for-
So Riley Patterson is probably going to be the kicker tomorrow. So we know he was the
Yes.
kicker for the Lions, and they cut him. Which I also, I thought I saw people were saying wanting him to come back to Jacksonville, and y'all cut McManus, but that didn't happen. But yes, so
They're not doing nothing.
Riley Patterson, not no schmuck. I mean, he's good. He's on when he's on, but sometimes he's not. So this is outside. Let me see. I want to see the weather.
There's also a tight end for the Jets that's replacing somebody. Kenny Yeboah. He's had a couple targets every game, just about. I never even heard of this guy. But research says he's had a couple targets a game, and he's replacing Ruckert.
Okay. I did. And somebody else I was thinking about. What's
It's a
his
backup
name?
QB. And think tight ends, think running backs.
Running back Israel Abenaconda. I know he's questionable for the
He had 9
Jets.
carries last week and went in front of Dalvin Cook on the depth chart.
Yes.
He's a smaller but speedier back, and has the ability to catch out of the backfield.
I feel like he's like a Darren Sproles, like a little big meatball.
Yeah. So weather for tomorrow. Here we go. 50 degrees. No, hang on. This game is at 7 p.m. kickoff. 6 p.m. Here we're at 7. 9 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
Damn, Browns are favored by 7.5.
46 degrees, 5-mile-an-hour winds with 18% chance of rain.
I mean, this is the Jets versus the Browns are both used to the cold, both used to the rain.
But it's supposed to rain all day up until that point, so the field's outside. The ball could still be wet, could be a little muddy. So there you go.
Don't know. Trevor Siemian is used to the cold and the rain.
Denver Broncos. He was a Denver Broncos quarterback. So
maybe.
But then he went to NOLA and was Saints backup too. Stayed in the dome. So
probably learned some things from behind Drew Brees. He wasn't the one that was doing the commercials, was he? That was like, if only we had our chance to shine. And he was like, it was a backup QB commercial, but he was talking about a product. But it was like a product that was a backup to something else. He was like, we're the same. If only we had our time to shine as a backup. And I'm like, look at these commercials, like, bro, you are not starting it with YouTube.
no, I don't think so. I don't think it was Trevor Siemian.
It was him.
I'm not sure of that one. I'm not sure of that one.
I don't remember his name. I don't remember who it was.
He was a
Commercials.
he was a Saints quarterback.
It was a Saints quarterback. Yeah, he did these commercials. They were funny as fuck. Let's say Saints backup.
Chase? Wasn't Chase, was it? Chase Daniel?
I don't even remember what it was. Let's see. Is this it? I think it was Verizon.
Yeah,
I think it was Verizon. Right here.
Luke McCowan?
Allen.
There you go.
There you go.
was gonna say,
Verizon has
Luke-
backup generators. That was the commercial. If only the backups had a chance. Luke McCown, dude.
Luke McCown, man. I knew it I was like, all right, let me go back in my mind. It's Saints famous backups, and now I was like, it's Chase or it's Luke McCown. So
Dude, fucking weird, yo. I used to geek out watching this commercial. Like,
yeah, them McCown boys made a hell of a lifetime in the NFL as backups, man.
they're
Him and
healthy
Josh.
today. They ain't gonna complain.
Josh McCown is a coach for Carolina. Has been on like 17 teams. His daughter has less friends than he has jerseys to wear over homecoming and shit. And yeah, man, it's crazy, dude. That dude is, and then his
He's
son.
on Verizon commercial, so he was making that money. His agent was getting him paid as a backup.
Yeah.
I ain't seen no other backup QBs on commercials.
Chad Henne, but he's retired now, so he's on the Subway commercial with Pat Mahomes. So yeah.
Damn.
But
Simple Google search found that man and exposed him on the live stream.
Yeah.
My bad, McCown.
It's all right. He got paid. He got paid, and he's sitting on the couch doing what he loves to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, 7.5. Cleveland. I don't like 7.5.
I'm actually gonna go with the Jets.
Yeah.
Go with the Jets on this one, dude. I like the opposite happening on prime time. I'm a big fan of that because I see it happen so often.
I think the Jets too. I think the Jets. Just the fact of the matter is that their defense is healthier and more on point than what ours was, and they don't just shit all over the Browns like they did us. And then, yeah, I know we have Saturday. I know it's early, but Saturday's game, I felt like we should kind of gloss over it, kind of like we did before last week. Saturday's game, because it's really important. It's a big game, and it's probably going to be a high-scoring affair that the Lions go to Dallas to take on the Cowboys, who have lost 2 in a row, by the way.
And that's probably going to be a fireworks game.
And it's the only Saturday game. It's a nighttime game because we're not going to have any games on Monday. So they flex Mondays, since Monday's New Year's. And, of course, what's going on New Year's Day, all of the college football and all that shit, that's why they're not putting that on. I don't think there's no Monday night game, so they moved it back to Saturday. So it's Saturday, Sunday. So as of right now, there's really not a lot of injury. There's no injury report. It's a lot of just who practiced, who didn't practice. I know, like I said, it's really far in advance, but
yeah, I haven't even looked at that. But I would just expect fireworks from the
53.5 is the over-under right now.
A big over. I expect fireworks. So I would tend to say like Lamb, Dak, Amon-Ra, Laporta, Brandon Cook, trying to get different
I think you're getting off of the chalk. Is your Kevontae Turpin here?
That and Josh Reynolds.
And
it's done it. It's like week 2 and 3.
Jameson Williams. I like Jameson Williams too. I feel like he's come alive, and I've seen Jared Goff hitting him across the middle, and it seems like Jameson Williams has gotten to the point like, okay, well, I'm not gonna get a lot of catches in this offense by just running the speed bombs down the field. I got to learn to work the middle and the deep crossers and stuff. And I've seen him kind of take on that because that's where Jared Goff looks when he's running that bootlegs and everything he likes to throw. So, I like that. I like Detroit here, man. Even though that fucking
Dallas favored by 6.
By 6. It's in Dallas, but I like Detroit, man. I feel like Dan Campbell got them boys playing.
I'm gonna go with Dallas on this one, even though they just fucked up my parlay. But
I like just for the fact that I believe they just Detroit just clinched. Sometimes it's almost like a sort of a.
After that, shit! Did they?
I believe they already won
NFC North.
Division, so
yeah.
They might start benching
letdown
motherfuckers.
game. I don't think they're as pumped as the Cowboys here, as motivated. Due to the fact also the Cowboys are kind of fighting for a playoff spot. So I see Cowboys coming out more fired, more inspired, especially after they're kind of losing late there against a pretty good Miami's team last week. So
Does Detroit have a chance at number 1 seed?
Yes.
I think so.
Oh, then they might be playing for that.
They might.
So
They
11,
might play for
three
that.
teams tied. 3 teams tied at the top for the number 1 overall seed. So 49ers and Detroit have already clinched their division. So they're both division champions already. So 49ers are division champions for the NFC West. Detroit is NFC North champions. Dallas and right now Philly is still in first for the NFC East, but that could flip-flop depending on the schedule going forward between them and Philly and Dallas. So right now, the reason why San Francisco has the lead right now because they're 5-0 in their division. Detroit is 3-2 in the division. So it would take San Francisco losing both of their next 2 games and Philly losing their next 2 games So they both need to lose and Detroit needs to win out. But stranger things have happened. So it's not over, but they need both teams to lose, both and Dallas. They need to beat Dallas.
No, it's likely that they will pull off the throttle in this Dallas game if they get behind late. That's for sure.
Yes.
They'll be like, fuck it, let's bench. Who cares? We need a lot to happen anyways.
Yeah, they're locked into the playoffs right now. And as far as they could fall is obviously the number 4 seed. But that ain't happening because y'all's NFC South is so far behind. There's nobody with a.
Who that?
I mean, Tampa Bay has 8 wins, right?
I don't know. I think they're still up for the Saints. I think Tampa Bay
8-7, and you guys are 7-8. Y'all are 1 loss away from being eliminated.
We have to play them again too. So if we beat them, we'll be tied with them in the division.
Yeah. No
Right
time.
now they're up on us because they beat us the first time around.
Yeah, so it's no right now y'all don't have any tiebreakers. Atlanta actually has the tiebreaker over both you and Tampa. So they theoretically could sneak their way back in if they win the next 2 and Tampa drops 2 and y'all drop 2. It's just weird. So yes, there is something to play for unless Detroit gets behind early and then it's. But I don't know. It's got to be. I think it's got to be down big. I think they got to be down big, because before they just start yanking people out. Because they do play the Vikings next week. So, which obviously they lost. So they're the division, but they still have to play to get in. So, but I'm gonna go. I'll be the person that we didn't get this. We didn't get this game on Thanksgiving. We're getting it on the Saturday before New Year's. So I'll take the Lions. I'll take the Lions here, even though it's 6 points for the Cowboys.
All right.
But I appreciate everybody hanging out with us that's still here. Y'all got questions, put them in the chat. The Facebook links are in the description. And if that's it, we will catch you guys on Saturday.
Yes, sir. Right. That's the luck.
Peace.
That's the luck, fellas.
Championship week.